I should have stayed quiet, but I didn't realise how many things could be taken out of context, twists and turns.
Conor, one of my things kind of following on from that was obviously there are going to be people that are going to question you, even though you've put out your evidence and your information. How does it make you feel that there's always going to be those people that associate your name with this part of your career rather than the things that you've achieved in the ring?
Do you know what? It was really hard for me to accept. At one stage, it was looking like I don't even want to fight. If this is what this is going to be, I don't even want to fight. And it took my love away from just boxing, from everything. The quicker you come to terms with it and you sort of accept it, like this is what it is. If I can change the testing that they do for Clomiphene, it would all then sort of be worth it. Because I'm still willing to work with you, Ked. Relevant to the outcome, I'm willing to work with them. That goes without saying. I couldn't have spent all this money, these hundreds of thousands on legal fees and scientists for nothing. So if we can change the law on it, I'd sort of feel like, I can't say it was worth it because, it's so hard what I went through, but I would sort of feel like I feel better about the situation. There's something good to come out of this.
And it wasn't just you that was obviously affected by it. I mean, it must have been hard for your family as well. You were obviously going through your own concerns and troubles with it, but what was it like kind of seeing the ramifications that it had on the people closest to you as well?
It was, definitely its toll. You think my dad was, I've ever seen my dad so depressed or so in such a bad way. So it's been at Tony, Eddie, everyone's been getting heat for the past year for this, no fault of anyone's. It's just the situation that happened. And, there's nothing we could do to stop the situation from happening. Could we have dealt with it better? Yeah, we could have. But, you live and you learn. And that's that, What don't kill you makes you stronger, they say. So here we are.
And with that as well, it must have been so difficult to kind of have to stay quiet whilst everything was being sorted out in the background. And I know you went and you spoke to Piers Morgan in the end and kind of did a sit down, big reveal or interview. But what was kind of the process on having to stay quiet, deciding to do that interview?
I should have stayed quiet, but I didn't realise how many things could be taken out of context, twists and turns. The reality is, I am what I am. What you see is what you get in the ring and out the ring. I am what I am. I couldn't stay silent about it. I should have. Could I have done? But then there was no right or wrong in this, because if I stayed silent, he's a cheat, he's not speaking. I thought, you know what, I'll go up Piers Morgan and say what I need to say. And there's no holes in the truth. I'll answer anything. There's nothing to hide. I have nothing to hide. So you think I've spent all this money on this legal case? Surely it would have just been easier. If I had done it, what would I spend money on? Scientists, the best scientists in the world. I employed 3 best scientists in the world on this. Would I? Or would I have just gone quiet and just taken a ban quietly and saved all that money? Which I could have done. Or could I have just lied? Could have done. Could I have just done this? Like every other fighter in the past has. No, instead I'm standing my ground. I'm fighting this publicly, spending money publicly, dealing with people I need to deal with, so I'm doing everything I can.
And Eddie, one for you. Obviously, there's been a lot more adverse findings recently, but the one with Conor was kind of the big headline hitting one that almost first came out. Do you think that the board is almost trying to make a statement out of Conor with this new appeal to try and kind of make a point going forwards?
Oh, I think there's a huge amount of ego and, there's chips on the shoulder from everybody when, I'm not sure the appeal process will necessarily take place. But every time there's a decision, the decision comes on the final day, the maximum amount of time there could be. Every time there's an appeal, the decision comes on the maximum time. That it's just like, none of it really makes sense. And I feel for Conor Benn because there's been other adverse findings with high-profile fighters. I've not seen one article about it. I've not seen one tweet about it. Yet people have talked about Conor Benn every day for a year. Why aren't the media talking about other fighters that have tested positive? And I do think that, moving forward now, I think it is one thing improving the volatility of testing, and I think it's important, but it's also important to give fighters the opportunity. And I agree with strict liability, but not, but you know, if there is contamination via food, I don't see how a fighter can necessarily, it's right that a fighter should receive a ban from there. You know, what are you going to do? You no longer eat anywhere other than in food that is made specifically in your house. Like, and people can say, oh yeah, contamination. Contamination is 1,000,000% real. You know, you look at the tests that Conor was talking about, you look at tests from the UFC, it's, you know, it's a real thing. So it's one thing us increasing the testing, and we want to catch cheats, but you know, we also must give fighters the opportunity to prove their innocence and go through a process if they are innocent in a situation. And I do think, you know, even with Robert Helenius, I don't know Robert Helenius to the depths that I know Conor Benn, but I know him in my heart. I think absolutely he's innocent. Honestly, like the letter that he's wrote to Anthony Joshua, just knowing that team, I do not believe that Robert Helenius took Clomiphene for a 6-round fight that he had coming up, you know, that he was training for. And that has to be a concern. But, you know, I'm just pleased to see him back in the ring because I know how difficult it's been for him. And like I said, it's time to go back to work.